Ricky Thompson joins us on 365 Sports. Craig Smoke, Paul Catalina, and David Smoke coming right out of a banker's board meeting. Is that right, Ricky?
Yeah, something like that. We had a good meeting, but it's done.
Good. Thanks for your time today. Your thoughts, do you expect anything different from what we see Baylor on offense this weekend against Cincinnati? Dave Aranda did not make any changes with the staff. There was thoughts maybe, probably not, but do you think you'll see anything different?
You know what? I kind of think so, and I don't base that on anything I know particularly. I just think that with 2 weeks off, I think I mentioned it last week, sometimes I think some folks think that a open date after a loss is not a good thing. I disagree with that. I think it gives you some time to regroup, particularly where we were as a football team. I think this was a time where I'm guessing these guys have spent 2 weeks both on the defensive side of the football and offensive side of the football with Powledge and Coach Grimes and Coach Aranda, and I expect they've made some adjustments, and I would not be surprised to see some things maybe look a little differently offensively.
Ricky, what would you say they need to lean into that they do the best on offense?
Well, I think you need to take advantage of Blake and let him make plays, give him time to make plays. I like him in the shotgun. I think that just gives you time to look downfield versus dropping back or waggling out of the backfield with a defender in your face. So give him a chance to throw it. I think maybe the tight ends have been Dabney, I thought, was one of our best receivers early, and particularly last year before he got hurt. And I would kind of think that maybe something in the middle of the field going to Dabney in a throwing game. I think Cincinnati's pretty good up front, so I'm not going to be surprised if maybe they don't throw it a little early, establish the run, but we know they're going to try to run it. And for this team to be successful, they have to run. But the key to this offense is Blake Shapen, and the guys around him have to perform, and he's got to get the ball to them and let those guys make plays, both running back and at the receiver position, and the O-line's got to step up. I think that's no secret. These coaches have been around a long time. They know they need better play up there, and maybe some changes up front. Who knows?
Ricky, sticking with the passing game, I don't know if this is as amazing of a stat to others as it was to me the other night and seeing it, but they have 5 passing touchdowns through 6 games. Of course, Blake missed time, and the offense hasn't been good. But Monterey Baldwin has 2 of those, and Drake Dabney has the other 3. Monterey Baldwin's the only pure receiver with a catch in the end zone this season. Is that shocking to you, and are you surprised by that, given what you've seen up to this point?
Well, yeah. Sure, that's surprising. I think it probably surprises that coaching staff too. They're not dummies. I think they know that they need to do better out there than that. I'm sure they expect it to be better out there than that, and that's part of the key. As I mentioned, not only getting the ball to Dabney, who you mentioned just then has 3 of the 5 receiving touchdowns, that these outside guys need to get involved, and I just think sometimes it takes one play, just one play by a guy to turn his game around. A Keytron, he's got to go up and get one ball sometime, and that might set him off. Hal Presley, we've seen make some plays. Amari Winfield. There's guys out there. I just think they have to have the opportunity to make a play and get that ball to them on the outside. Now, it sounds simple, I understand, coming from me, but I think they can do that. And wouldn't be surprised if there's not an attempt to do that early and then get these running backs involved. Hopefully through this 2 weeks, we've gotten healthy in the backfield and everybody's ready to go full speed.
Ricky, you're there on the sideline. I know you have headsets on because you're going back and forth with JJ and John and everything else that's going on. Have you seen any type of barking among players or any infighting whatsoever?
Nope, I haven't. I might be oblivious to it, but I think probably not, and I haven't that. And but sometimes, Smokey, that's not all bad,
right?
if these guys get fired up and chirp at each other, I know I can't say that I never did it. when I was playing because I did. Even at my roommate Theismann for not throwing me the dang ball. But I haven't seen that. I really don't think that I know of that there's any of that out there. I think these kids just want to win. And again, if somebody gets upset on the sideline and chunks a cup of water, I don't really have a problem with it. Good for them. I'm glad they're upset. I'm glad they're ready to go. I'm glad they're ready to play, and I'm glad they're not happy that it's not going well. But I've not seen any confrontation-wise, if that's what you're talking about. No, I have not.
Well, and the reason I bring that up is because I was really impressed with Monterey Baldwin's post-game comments about some are just there for the ride and what he said for a guy that also was not producing much early in the year, and there were reasons for that. That as a former player, weren't his comments like what a leadership role is like or about?
I think so. And obviously none of us know particularly who or what Monterey was talking about. But, yeah, there's nothing wrong with that. I mean, and it does show some leadership. And again, it shows he's upset about a team that's 2-4. I don't think any of these guys expected that. That's not what they signed up for. But that's a good start and a way to fix it, because I will bet you Coach Aranda addressed that in these last 2 weeks when he heard that comment one way or the other. So I just think that's fine. And there's just nothing wrong with these kids getting upset. They should be, and I like that. There's nothing wrong with the coaches getting upset and getting ticked off about what's going on. I remember Joe Gibbs used to tell us, said, you guys need to get ticked off. That's about as bad as a word as he ever said. But he was just good about that any minute. Get mad about something, get angry, play hard, just go do something, make a big play. And that's what he meant by go get ticked off. So I don't think there's anything wrong with that, and good for Monterey, and hopefully that permeates throughout this team.
If I was an official and Joe Gibbs told me, gosh darn it, that was a terrible call, I would like that less than someone swearing at me.
Most likely.
It would crawl in my head.
Believe me, I've heard it both ways. I've heard it both ways. We had Sic'Em was outlawed after the first 2 or 3 years I played, and the trick was to put it on the inside of your pants and tuck it in there. And I got tackled on a play, and I couldn't get rid of the ball quick enough, and I'm walking away, and I heard my name. It was the official, and he said, I don't know where it is, but lose it.
I love that.
Ricky, first time ever matchup between these two programs and a conference game, obviously. But any experience up there in the Queen City of Cincinnati during your career, or any insight on Nippert Stadium, what you expect to walk into on Saturday?
Well, I'll tell you a funny story. We had remember the show Superstars? It was on many years ago. Probably some of you don't, Craig, I'm sure. But those of us that are old enough, we do. And that was a competition between players. We had an NFL version of that in Cincinnati, and I got to go with a couple other guys on behalf of the Redskins, and we had a flag football game in that stadium.
Oh, wow.
That year. And I think it was, this was probably 1980, something like that. And I'm quite sure it's changed pretty dramatically in 40 plus years, but kind of an unusual stadium. Some tall buildings pushed right up next to the stadium. It's kind of a cool look, but not a huge stadium, but kind of neat. And I don't know, guys, I enjoy going into these new places and seeing new stadiums and with these new teams in the league. And again, I think I mentioned it before the Bears went to UCF. That might be something good for them to get on the road and get away from home and have that time and just have each other depend on. And as it turned out, we saw a 26-zip fourth quarter and winning the football game. So playing on the road doesn't scare me, and I'm quite sure it doesn't scare these coaches or players either.
All right, a flippant question to end it. Thanks for your time. You mentioned Joe Theismann. Did he ever steal your hairspray?
You know what? No, Theismann didn't steal my hairspray because he had plenty of his own.
I love it. I love it. Oh, my goodness. Thank you, Ricky. Thank you so much, buddy.
sir.
Ricky Thompson, Baylor sideline reporter for Baylor Radio, former Baylor and Washington Redskins at the time, wide receiver on a Joe Theismann nugget to end the segment.
I'm going to ask you, if you're an official